T to the V to the L to the I to the N to the E, TVLine.
What does the darkness release mean for your two characters?
The darkness is, I think, very ominous for the season 11. It is going to prove to be a season that has a big bad, and that big bad is the darkness. The darkness is pre-biblical. It is very, very powerful
and dark.
Very dark. For my character, for Castiel, I think the darkness is, my suspicion is that over the course of the season it will help unite him with the boys against a common enemy. But we haven't seen that far, so that's my stab in the dark, if you'll pardon the pun.
And he killed me at the end of last season.
You're not really dead. You're here.
Yeah, but I was going to be here. I was going to be here anyway.
I'm not sure
They
you
can't
were.
stop me coming to Comic-Con.
You already started work on the new season, but once again, you're shooting out of order. Shooting episode 3 now.
Yes.
Because?
Jensen is directing right now. He's directing the first episode. The reason they do that is that he can prep for the first episode that we shoot while he's on hiatus. If he had to prep while he was shooting an episode, it would be virtually impossible for him to go scout locations and that sort of thing. So typically the season premiere is an episode that Jensen is going to be very heavy in. So they move it to the third episode down the line, which is an episode that they can write him a little bit more light in so that he isn't spending his entire time directing himself.
3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, that's the sequence we're shooting in.
Is it weird to get a script for episode 3 not knowing what happened in 1 and 2? Or do they sort of fill you in?
We get the scripts, or at least the outlines of those first episodes so that we can sort of piece it together. Although I think it is difficult to sort of keep the thread a little bit. I think everyone is a little bit lost because we haven't shot stuff. We don't know exactly how it's going to come out.
Curiously, we did it with the end of last season. We had that issue because of a Charlie Bradbury issue.
Yeah.
Felicia was busy and there was no other way to shoot it, so we had to shoot the end out of sequence last year for the first time ever, which was extraordinary.
It was challenging, and I think we messed a few things up because of it.
Like what?
Yeah. We shot something and then we realized that we were going to need another set that we hadn't built. It's just big. It's
creating yourself a lot
it's
of...
painting yourself into a corner. I mean,
which tells you how good production.
It's like block shooting. Block shooting is when you have two scenes that are taken. Like if we had two different scenes that we were going to shoot over the course of the day that both took place in this room, and it was just the three of us talking, we could shoot those scenes kind of together, and it's called block shooting, where you would shoot everything in this direction for both scenes, and then you turn around and shoot everything in that direction.
Which saves time for lighting
saves time
and moving things around.
But it just gets really easy to start messing stuff up. Mm-hmm. And
logistically, it's an extraordinarily complicated thing to do. Most people who watch television don't realize that we don't shoot things in order, and we don't shoot... I mean, it has to be done for convenience. So if you have a diner scene at the beginning of an episode and a diner scene at the end, they're shot at the same time, and they may be shot in the middle of the shoot. They may be shot at the beginning, they may be shot at the end, they might be shot 3 months later, depending on what's happening. So there's a lot of logistics to keep that going. So when you start adding into it, as we were saying, when you start adding into it, like shooting out of sequence at the beginning, it can become a bit of an issue.
You said you have the outline for the premiere. How would you describe it?
It's got a very apocalyptic quality to it. The darkness has come and it sets stuff off in a very ominous manner.
We will be addressing the darkness, or they will be addressing the darkness. I mean, I would think pretty much from the bat. I mean, it has to be addressed, I think, does it not?
Yeah, so things are bad at the outset.
There is an interesting difference, though, between what has been said about the tone of 11 and the tone of 10. There was a lot more personal stories, a lot more intimate and personal stories in season 10, and this year I think they're focusing way much more on the idea of what the boys do, having to follow their original job.
Yeah, it's sort of a soldiering up, fighting the big bad season, for sure.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
Shame I'm not in it.